How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. They are bitter with you because what they expected of you didn't happen. When people expect certain things from you, they invest a great deal of hope and belief that you will meet this or those expectations. But when you don't, it feels as if a bond has been broken. Expectations, whether spoken or unspoken, create a kind of debt between people. When the debt isn't paid, resentment can creep in. They feel as though you've let them down, not because you've intentionally hurt them, but because their vision of your potential wasn't realized. The bitterness people feel towards you stems from the mirror of their own disappointments. They might have envisioned a future where you were the solution to their dreams. And when you didn't fit that mold, their idealization crumbled. The bitterness isn't necessarily about you as a person. It's about the disconnect between the expectations and your reality. It is the bitter test of a dream not coming true. Often these expectations are never clearly articulated and they exist only in the minds of those around you. The unspoken pressure becomes a silent force, constantly nudging you towards paths you might never have chosen. When those around you feel like you've let them down by not meeting the expectations, it's because they assumed you knew what they wanted, even when they never told you. Hope is a powerful emotion. When people place their hope in you, whether it's a parent hoping their child will be the one to fulfill a dream, or a friend expecting you to always be the source of joy, the weight of that hope becomes heavy. The bitterness that follows stems from their disappointment in seeing that their hopes were unrealistic, misplaced, or unacknowledged. The expectations others place on you often remain silent but loud in their presence. Sometimes it is the way they look at you, the things they don't say, or the small actions that reflect how disappointed they are in you. That silence can sting more than harsh words. They're bitter with you because they feel you've let them down, even if they never express just how high their hopes were. Failure is subjective. What one person deems as a failure might not be seen that way by someone else. But when people expect a specific outcome from you and that doesn't come to fruition, they feel as though you have failed them. It is not about whether you succeeded or not on your own terms. It's about failing to meet their vision of success. People construct narratives about your life in their minds. They might think they know your story, your trajectory, and where you are headed. When you veer off course, they feel as though the plot line has been disrupted. They're bitter with you because the future they envisioned with you no longer fits into their narrative, and they are unable to adapt to that change. Sometimes the expectations placed on you are not only unrealistic but impossible. You're being held to standards that no one could meet, and when you inevitably fall short, others feel betrayed. They had high hopes for you, but their hopes were built on an idealized version of who you are supposed to be, not the person you are or want to become. People often want to control the outcomes in their lives, and sometimes that means controlling the people around them. When you don't meet their expectations, it's not just disappointment that they feel, it is the loss of control. They bitterly resent you for not following the script they had written for you. There is a resentment that comes with recognizing that you have the right to make your own choices, even if they don't align with others' wishes. Your decision to carve out your own path can feel like a rejection of the hopes and dreams others had for you. Their bitterness comes from the perceived abandonment of their vision and from the autonomy you've asserted over your own life. People often compare your life to others or to their own ideas of success. When you don't meet their expectations, they might look at others and wonder why you are not living up to the standards they've set for you. The bitterness grows from the belief that you could be doing more if only you lived up to their picture of success. They might not realize the inner struggles you face. Expectations are often placed upon people without understanding the context in which they are operating. They might only see the final outcome, not the journey. When you don't meet their expectations, they fail to acknowledge the complexities that prevented you from reaching their desired destination. When you fall short of expectations, the support you receive often diminishes and sometimes turns into criticism. They might be bitter with you because they believe that your failure reflects poorly on them. Rather than offering support or understanding, they withdraw, feeling that their hope in you has been betrayed, even if you never asked for that hope in the first place. Love is often entangled with expectation. When someone loves you, they hope for your success, but they also place their own dreams and wishes upon you. The conflict arises when their love turns into bitterness because the expectations were not met. What they fail to realize is that love shouldn't be conditional upon meeting certain outcomes. People who expect certain things from you often do so because they've envisioned a future where you play a key role. When you don't meet those expectations, the future they dreamed of begins to unravel. Their bitterness comes from the realization that their plans have to change and they have no control over it. When someone believes in your potential, they carry that belief with them in everything you do. They see you as someone who can achieve greatness. But when that greatness doesn't come, the disappointment can turn into bitterness. They feel that you are wasting your potential, and in some ways they mourn the future that could have been. Expectations are often placed on you without recognizing the strain it puts on you. You may be doing your best, yet the expectations feel like a heavy weight that you can never fully escape. The bitterness they feel towards you comes from their lack of awareness that you are carrying a burden they don't understand or see. When someone places expectations on you, they trust you to fulfill them. But when you fall short, that trust is fractured. They feel as though their faith in you was misplaced, and bitterness takes root. They resent the fact that they believed in you, only to have their trust broken by the reality of your choices. People sometimes impose their own vision of success on you, believing it to be the best path forward. When you don't follow that path, they feel betrayed. Their bitterness is rooted in the belief that their vision was superior, and by not following it, you've rejected their guidance. When you seek independence, it can be seen as a rejection of the influence others want to have in your life. The bitterness stems from their inability to control your decisions. They might view your choices as a personal affront, failing to recognize that independence is a natural part of personal growth. Some people tie their own self-worth to your success. When you don't meet their expectations, they internalize that as a personal failure. They feel bitter not just because you let them down, but because your perceived failure reflects poorly on their identity or decisions. Emotional investment is a tricky thing. When people pour emotional energy into your journey, they expect something in return. If they feel that the emotional labor was in vain, their resentment can grow. It's not just about the outcome, it's about how much of themselves they've invested and how disappointed they are when they don't see a return on that investment. When others expect great things from you, part of their motivation is the fear that your success might leave them behind. If you don't meet the expectations, they fear they have no place in your future. Their bitterness comes from the anxiety that your failure to meet their hopes means that they are now irrelevant in your story. Sometimes people are bitter with you simply because they have difficulty letting go of the vision they had for your life. They've invested so much time and energy in believing in you, and when you take a different path, they can't accept that your journey doesn't need to mirror the expectations. Letting go feels like a loss, and that bitterness is a reflection of their inability to adjust to that reality. When people's expectations of you go unmet, it signals the end of an era. The relationship as they envisioned it is no longer the same. They may be bitter because they mourn the loss of their expectations, the plans they made for you, and the vision of who you are supposed to be. In their eyes, the future has changed, and they are left to reconcile with a version of you they never anticipated. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so. Thank you.